Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. I know that you can be anywhere in the entire world, and I don't take it lightly that you chose to be here with us tonight. And it really is a miracle that we are all in this same room together. So my name's Emily, and I am the founder. I'm the founder of the M Project, which is a mental health nonprofit that is aimed at meeting people where they are in culture, with the hopes of changing the way that we relate to our minds, ourselves, and the world. The M Project was inspired by navigating my own challenges with my mental health and finding meditation, which I believe saved my life, because it gave me enough space to separate myself from my thoughts, specifically the thoughts that told me that I didn't want to be here, long enough to realize that I wasn't them. And from that place to rediscover the meaning of being alive. And for that reason, the M in the M Project stands for Mental Health, Mindfulness, and the Meaning of Life. And then in the span of 1 year, I lost 2 close friends to suicide, RJ and Taylor. And now RJ and Taylor and I didn't connect on meditation, but we connected on music. And I created the M Project because I felt like it was my duty to pay forward the gift that I felt like I received in the form of meditation, to honor my friend's experience, and to hopefully be able to help others. And what better way to do that through music? And luckily, music also starts with the letter M. And so that was the beginning of the Music and Mental Health Project. And so to me, an artist has a felt experience that might be related to their mental health or their human experience, enough that they transmute that into a song. And then we as listeners experience and feel that song. And in that way, a song kind of becomes this bridge between an artist and a listener, and between all of us as listeners that are kind of having this like shared human experience together. And maybe we can feel a little less alone in our human experience because of that. And now the term bridge in music is a contrasting section in a song that breaks up the repetitive cycle of verses and choruses. And why I think that meditation is such a powerful tool for our mental health is that sometimes when we're experiencing these mental health challenges, they can feel like this repetitive cycle of thought patterns, of anxiety, of fears. And meditation is that bridge, that breaks up that cycle, that pulls us out of our thoughts and into our breath and into our body for just long enough to create some space, to expand our perspective enough, to change our experience enough to maybe help us remember that we're not those thoughts. At least that was my experience. And then what's really beautiful is that music allows for that same mechanism. It pulls us out of our thinking mind and into our body, into this felt experience. And so my hope is that this project becomes those bridges, to connect artists and listeners, to connect each other in our shared human experience, to pull us out of any repetitive negative cycles and into a new way of relating to ourselves and to the world. So thank you for being a part of creating those bridges with me. And I have a couple more thank yous, and then we will get to what I know that we're all waiting for. So firstly, thank you so much to Young the Giant. To Sameer, Payam, and Jacob. They are on tour right now for their new album, Victory Garden. They must be exhausted. And they took a chance on this event. They are spending their Friday night with all of us because they believe in the importance of investing in mental health. And it really means a lot. You know, I can feel that through your guys' music. And I can feel it in meeting you guys tonight, and I'm really excited to hear more and to have a conversation with you about it. So thank you. I really do not take it lightly that you guys are here. And they are playing a show in LA on July 17th at the Forum. So tonight they're just going to be playing a few songs from their new album as an acoustic set. But if you want to experience the whole album, you should definitely join me at their show on July 17th. And thank you so much to James Bashara. This event would not have been possible without him. 2 months ago, I've been ideating on this idea for years, since losing my friends, and haven't had the courage to do it. And 2 months ago, I had a crazy idea, and I sent James a voice message, and he made it happen. So thank you. And Magic Mind for sponsoring this evening and for believing in mental health, for supporting our mental health. I took a Magic Mind shot before this. They are truly sponsoring this evening and this conversation in more ways than one. I love the brand and the product so much. Open for hosting us this evening in this beautiful space. It is truly such a gift to get to host this year, especially with how important meditation and breath work is for myself in my personal mental health journey. The Molaski Family Foundation, Josie, for believing in the importance of investing in mental health. Again, I couldn't do this without you. And to all of you guys for being here, it means the world. So with that, without further ado, let's welcome up Young the Giant. Sameer, Jacob, and Payam.
Thanks everyone for coming out. I saw a picture of you today. I had an art exhibit on memory lane. You wore those pearls we found on Champs-Élysées, framed like the golden masters, forgotten all these years, pouring like rain, a truth that appears, oh, the genius of pain. Without a name, 'cause I'm on my back again. Words we had to describe the same feeling, not without a meaning, 'cause I'm on my back again, looking at a hole in the ceiling. I watch a movie of you today, silver screen, adapted from my thoughts on Broadway. You said the world we lived in such harmony, blockbuster sales in 12 countries. Remembered all these years pouring like rain, a truth that appears. Oh, the genius of pain. Oh. 'Cause I'm on my back again. Words we had to describe the same feeling, now without a meaning, 'cause I'm on my back again, looking at a hole in the ceiling.
Thank you. So if you guys do come to the show at the Forum, it's very different than this. I'm not the normal guitarist. Our guitarist is in Nashville right now. So I'm going to make do and do kind of a kindergarten version of what he plays. And our drummer Francois is in Orange County, and he's apparently stuck there. He apparently can't leave. So he's not here. If you're filming this, Fran, I'm going to call you out. You should be here right now. But thank you guys very much for coming. Also would like to thank the M Project and James Bishar for making this happen. James is an amazing friend of mine, and also has been an amazing mentor to me over these last few months. So I'd like to thank you very much for making all this happen. And Open, we are Venice people. We live in Venice, and so this is kind of our studio. My wife, Jessie's over there. My two kids over here, Kieran and Leon, and Jake's family is around the area. Payam's, Ghazal and Nova are here as well. So let me just make sure I remember how to play this one. Is there a picture? I feel like it feels good. Okay.
I'm the last straw, broke the camel's back, yeah. I'm the gray rock when my mind goes black, a needle in the sky of a satellite. I'm holding my breath, just holding my breath. I'm up to my neck and the water's rising. Stone on my chest and my thoughts are violent. Memories fade, I've got to get away, I've got to get away, but I might not make it. Who has it something I say? I got my feelings right. Don't wanna lose you again. Ships passing in the night. You got my cards in your hands. What can you play 'em right? Don't wanna lose you again. Ships passing in the night. Ships passing in the night. You're the missed call on the telephone, the trace of perfume in the dressing room, and everything here makes me think of you. I'm holding my breath, just holding my breath. You're up to your neck and the water's rising. Stone on your chest and your thoughts are violent. Memories fade, I've got to get away, I've got to get away, but I might not make it. Who has it something I say? I got my feelings right. Don't wanna lose you again. Ships passing in the night. You got my cards in your hands. What can you play 'em right? Don't wanna lose you again. Ships passing in the night. Ships passing in the night.
Thank you. And so we didn't have any drummers on that one, but we are gonna bring up a friend of ours, and he didn't really do even sound check with us, but he was like, "Oh, you're here," and he knows half of these songs, but he's gonna put some tambo down for us. Everyone, give up for AJ. AJ, also my doppelganger. Even my booking agent thought that you were me. I can't tell if that's racist or not, but we kind of look alike. I mean, yeah.
AJ is also my next door neighbor and a dear friend and a very talented musician and artist himself. So
This is his first night playing tambourine though, with Young the Giant.
yeah, this is his audition.
Sure. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
So basic version.
Is anyone out there listening? I've lost myself deep in the algorithm of someone else, and under new conditions I might find that I was always perfectly alone. Can somebody walk me home to pearly gates? The universe becomes a wave and crashes out. Forever's not enough. And under new conditions, you and I alone. Can somebody walk me home? Can somebody walk me home? Is anyone out there listening? I've lost myself. But there is a song that echoes like morning bells, and as a distant memory shoots right through me, I am left so perfectly alone. Can somebody walk me home to pearly gates? The universe becomes a wave and crashes out. Forever's not enough. And under new conditions, we are not alone. And when I get better someday, I'll see myself in you the way it's always been. And under new conditions, I might find that we will always walk each other home. Can somebody walk me home? Can somebody walk me home? Ooh. Can somebody walk me home? Can somebody walk me home?
Thank you. Dang, man, that backbeat. I'll tell you. Oh, sorry. Okay. Mind over matter? Yeah. Okay. So we were initially, the kind of whole conceit of this is that we would do all the new record, and we've ended up playing mostly old stuff. But it's just kind of been the nature of limitation, and limitation is sometimes the best thing for a performance. So, yeah, we're gonna play an old one, and I tell this story sometimes when I'm on stage, but this next song is like we released it 12 years ago, and it was the second single from our second album, and it didn't do well at all when we first released it. There's so much expectation. You put so much attachment to something. James knows about this. You put attachment to something, and oftentimes nothing happens. And, you know, kind of was a deep catalog song, a fan favorite. And then 4 years ago, this song had this whole new resurgence and is now a song that was once like a failed song is our most successful song, which kind of just goes to show you guys, if you're artists or do anything, you know, just put intention to the world. Don't apologize for what you're doing, and you'll find your people. Just keep doing it, keep at it, and let go a little bit. I mean, the song of, you know, the whole point of this is ironically about kind of that, about letting go. This one's called Mind Over Matter.
Doesn't matter to any of us. Don't change the subject. I'm heavy on your love. I miss that train, New York City rains. Fly to East LA in big jet planes. You know you're on my mind. And if the world don't break, I'll be shaking it. 'Cause 'cause I'm a young man after all. Ooh, and when the seasons change, will you stand by me? 'Cause I'm a young man built to fall. Ooh. I'm in tatters thinking about her. Taste my disaster, it's heavy on my tongue. Hold the lights aglow, Tokyo snows. Go to watch the show, curtains closed. I'm watching you this time, and if the world don't break, I'll be shaking it. 'Cause I'm a young man after all. Ooh. And when the seasons change, will you stand by me? 'Cause I'm a young man built to fall. I miss that train, New York City rains. Fly to East LA in big giant planes. You know you're on my mind. Tokyo snows. Go to watch this show, curtains closed. I'm watching you this time. Mind over matter. Mind over matter. You know you're on my mind. And if the world don't break, I'll be shaking it. 'Cause I'm a young man after all. Ooh. And when the seasons change, will you stand by me? 'Cause I'm a young man built to fall. Ooh. And if the world don't break, and when the seasons change, will you stand by me? 'Cause I'm a young man built to fall.
Thank you. Thank you, AJ. Should I?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll play an extra one here and see. I didn't do this. I haven't played this in a while. Okay, I'll try it. Let's see. Do you mind handing me the there we go.
Does it work?
Let's see. This next one is one I don't play very often. It was an unreleased song from our second album. It's I think Young the Giant has meant for many years without us always often knowing, a search for finding home or finding belonging. And this song is about kind of laying your life down to find something that feels beautiful and true. And it's called Metropolis.
It's not for me to believe in everything. And of course, sir, you should know I'd be lying if I told you I'd known. But the world is sincere when you whisper in my ears, take me to a place so divine. Tell me you're the rambling man, and I'll walk for the rest of my life. I'll climb all the mountains and sleep in the wild. Heart in my chest, I've got the rest of my life. It's not too late, just a couple of years down the drain. Oh, I know I've made mistakes. I feel guilt for the things I can't change. But there's nothing I fear when you whisper in my ears, take me to a place so divine. Tell me you're the rambling man, and I'll walk for the rest of my life. I'll climb all the mountains and sleep in the wild. A heart in my chest, I've got the rest of my life. I'll follow you, calling your name, searching for something I can't explain. Tell me you're the rambling man, and I won't forget. How could I forget you, my friend? And I'll walk for the rest of my life. I'll climb all the mountains and sleep in the wild. A heart in my chest, I've got the rest of my life.
Thank you. This is the last one we have for you. This feels like a good speed, yeah.
Nothing gold can stay. Life is short, so they say. What can you do when Father Time is singing? And I've heard his melody floating soft in a dream. What does it mean? The end is just beginning. Staring at a desert sky, play it out 1,000 times. never know the reason why. Life is a long goodbye. Life is a long goodbye. Life is a long goodbye.
Wow. Thank you guys so much. Seriously. It is just such a beautiful expression of your heart and souls, to watch you guys up here so vulnerably sharing yourself. And I feel like that takes a lot of courage, and I think in my personal experience with my mental health and then also observing that of others, that there's something really healing in being authentic, with your emotions and with your feelings and with your mental health, and being able to share that, and then it kind of naturally invites other people to want to do the same. And I think what's so beautiful about watching you guys up here is that you're doing that, you are sharing your hearts and souls vulnerably and authentically with all of us. And so I'm just curious, how does that feel?
No, I mean, it feels amazing. I mean, we've been a band since we were 16 or 17, which is kind of crazy. This amazing therapeutic tool that has been at our disposal that we've just, I think, took for granted for a very long time. And I think as we've gotten older, I mean, we have this amazing outlet to be ourselves. And more than anything, it's really a meditative state to be on stage, because it's like one of the few places where you just don't think about anything else but performing. So it's fantastic. I mean, I'm very honored and feel very privileged to be able to do this, that this is our job. It's amazing.
Sameer often talks about on stage, like he mentioned, this lineup, there's two others as well, have been a lineup. This band has been the same lineup for 20 years now, which is wild. It's just very improbable. I feel like this very deep level of gratitude, even it's also very rare for us millennials to have a job for so long. I feel like both my parents were engineers, and my mom worked for the same company for 40 years, and that was kind of par for the course for that generation. So it's a high privilege, and I think we just put out our 6th full-length studio album, which is crazy. And I mention that because I think we have put out our we feel like, I think every artist feels like the newest thing they put out is their best work. It's kind of like a thing, but I really feel like this one we kind of reconnected as brothers and kind of channeled the energy of the first album, which Sameer talks a lot about on stage, and there's a couple moments on stage where he talks about it. But yeah, we're just really grateful for the experience, and it's not lost on us to do this. Yeah.
I sometimes think about laundry on stage. I'm like, damn, I didn't move her to the dryer.
You were talking to me about laundry earlier, so I think
It's
you
on the mind
you
today.
think about laundry frequently.
That might be my anxiety showing up in the laundry form.
So you had mentioned, that you've been doing this for 20 years together, and that maybe at times you've taken it for granted. And I'm curious, in those 20 years, what has been, and I know that this is kind of a loaded question, so maybe just what comes to mind as the most prominent thing, but what's been your experience with your mental health, whether as a performer, someone who's going out on stage touring, as fathers, as performers and fathers, it's so beautiful to see your little kids here running around and enjoying the show.
My kids have run along home.
Yes. And just, as human beings, and then also how and if music, either creating music or listening to music, has been a tool for you guys to process your emotions and your experience with your mental health.
I know that music for us is a gift more than anything. It's allowed us to live a life of curiosity, and I think all of us love music so much, but it is actually given as a platform to go and search for other practices and meaning and other things, because when we're on the road, it's obviously so intensive, but when we come home, we're let free a little bit. And because of that, I feel like personally I've been able to sow deeper relationships with friends and catch up with people. And I feel like through the years, I've learned how to be a steward of friends. And because we sometimes I feel like a bird's eye view from people's lives, because we fly out and then we come back, that sometimes it's, at least for me, been a really nice gift to be able to reconnect with people and be flexible and be available. And also I've learned to connect with friends when we're on the road and just give people a call just to check in, kind of a self-help therapy thing. I try not to do that, but I have realized that sometimes I'll be like, how are you feeling? And I'll be like, well, I'm actually feeling like this, and unload on them. But it's a very unique life, and we're just very privileged to have continued this journey. And it's, as I said, for me, it's allowed me to find other practices and loves, and I hope it continues to do that.
I'll be candid. I mean, I think it's really interesting. I mean, we came up at a unique time. I think it was the last era of a rock and roll star. Not to say that we were necessarily that. I think at a certain point we chose, there was a choice. There was, do you want to create a character, and that image is the person that you are, and you have to method act that person that is this kind of ethereal person that is tortured. And I think I made a decision somewhat early on to not do that. But it's so interesting to see in the wake of in a new generation that's, I think, a lot more emotionally literate, psychologically literate, that so much of that, the substances, which I think, all of us as a band have had our own issues with. It's really interesting with talking to all these Gen Z musicians who come out with us, and they're so healthy. And I'm like, dude, when I was your age,
they're glowing.
Man, I didn't know what was going on. And I think that was so much because we didn't have the access or understanding to process the things that we were going through, and to dealing with fame in the way that we had to deal with it, being away from family, touring so much, dealing with just the sheer fatigue of everything. So I think it's an amazing boon that this new generation has the availability and the tools to be able to do it healthily. I'll still make fun of them for it, but it's
I think, and to give Sameer credit, I mean, we started this very early, and the first album, we had our most success on the first album, and we had this pretty big rise on the first album, and all the subsequent records after that, it was still a steady ascend, but it wasn't as parabolic, if you will. And we had a lot of fun growing up, and we kind of had this public puberty. We honestly grew up on stage, and we grew up together. The band lived with one another in Newport and Hollywood and Mount Washington and Palos Verdes, Venice. So and then we all eventually, once we started making income, we could move out, and we, our partners, our girlfriends became our fiancés, became our wives. We had children. All that to say is, on this album, we kind of came back together, because I think with having young children, our lives were, in a way, not, and coming out of COVID as well, was a little bit siloed. We were forced to be, and we wrote the previous record in with masks on and postal service way, saying it to one another. So on this album, when we went on these very intentional writing retreats in Idlewild and Joshua Tree, and just really decided to let's be present in the room together. And before the writing retreats, maybe the night prior, we'd all get together in this vacation rental, and we, under the influence of, I'll say, a deeper connection, we kind of reconnected as brothers and shared experiences. And to answer your question, and there's a point to all of this, is because I think for me, with my mental health, my biggest issue being in this band professionally was like my imposter syndrome. And I was like, I'm not the best musician out there. I had so many other friends who are still to this day, I have incredible musician friends that just have not made it, or they not yet, and I see all this, I almost lose sight of all the hard work, all the miles and shows to no one that we've played. And I remember, Sameer, you are just an unbelievable force. Your talent, your voice, it's incredible. It's an honor to be in this band with you.
Thank you, man.
And I remember we were like around the fireplace, and Sameer was just like, you went on this whole thing about imposter syndrome and you feeling like you weren't good enough to be in the room sometimes. I was just like, it blew my mind. And I think everyone on the band was just like, looked to you and were just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like you? And I was just like,
silly goose.
And then I think, yeah, and I was just like, and I mentioned that because I think all of us feel that. All of us feel, in a certain sense, that like we don't know what we're doing and we're still just figuring it out like kids. And I think with this album specifically, because we went on those writing retreats, we put out something we're really proud of. We channeled the youthful naivete and abundance of our children, and seeing the world through their eyes and what you can accomplish if you just have confidence. I think we've really arrived as a group and found this confidence that like we've always been confident, but like now we're on stage, and that's why I think our show is so much better now. And we were always a great band, but I think we've just like really come into our own, and like now we own it. And I don't feel that imposter syndrome anymore for the first time after 20 years. So that's a really long-winded answer, but I think like trying to piece it all together.
And a very good and important one, and applicable to the conversation of mental health, because I think so many of us are having these experiences that we think that we're the only one who's having this experience, because honestly, we have a lot of shame around it, and so we keep it to ourselves and we don't talk about it. And then if there's someone who decides to share about it and have a conversation about it and be honest, in what I was reflecting is what I feel with you guys up on stage, is like being honest and sharing your hearts and your souls. And like, maybe it's not this, like conversation on mental health, but it is an expression of like I was feeling your emotions through your songs. And I think that, to your point of like, there's scary emotions that we're feeling. I can't even imagine the ones of having like a quick rise to fame, and that's scary, but then to be able to like invite people to experience that through your own vulnerability of experiencing that is really powerful, because it shows us like, hey, Sameer has imposter syndrome too, and you're like, wait, what? Okay. That's crazy, and that brings me to a question that I wanted to ask about your guys' new album, which I know that we didn't play a lot of it tonight, and so again, July 17th. But I just, what had kind of inspired me to ask James to then ask you guys to do this with me tonight was going to your album release party at the Lighthouse, and I heard so much of Victory Garden, and it is such a beautiful expression of mental health and of the human experience, and of, this message to your children that's so special and so beautiful. And as I dove into the album more, you guys have referred to it as an ode to radical empathy. And when I think about mental health, I think one of the biggest issues with mental health is shame. And there's this saying that shame breeds silence, and then silence increases risk. Because when we experience shame around our mental health, we keep it all to ourselves, and then we think that it's our fault, and then we don't want to talk about it, and then we don't get any help, and so that increases our risk. And empathy is this like powerful tool against shame, empathy for ourselves and for others. And so I just want to invite you guys to share a little bit more about Victory Garden and about it being an ode to radical empathy, and maybe how that applies to mental health.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, there's so much, when you first started as a musician, you have so much instinct. And then as you kind of become more in the space and you're doing this more often, it can be with any field. You get more experience, but your instinct kind of wavers and you start to doubt, and you have that imposter syndrome, you have that shame, you have that fear. And to find yourself on level ground is an amazing thing, and that is about letting go. And I think Victory Garden was just letting go for us. It was from its very core instinctual songwriting, meaning like not second guessing anything, not trying to worry about how others perceived or would perceive what is going to happen, but just being the truest version of ourselves. And radical empathy is this beautiful thing that I feel like is the highest form of humanity. I think in trying times throughout history, we kind of we have leaders who kind of go back to this like instinctual, biological, evolutionary thing where we're like, dog eat dog world. And even if it's one voice, and we want to shout that, that empathy is something that has always been its own form of resistance, throughout history, even though it's so easy to just say, especially now in this kind of like memification and like social media world of like, let's just get along. Building a community is much harder to do in practice, but it requires that basic instinct of love and unconditional love that is for other people, not seeing otherness, and also for yourself, right? For feeling that deeply for yourself. And for me, I think it means so many different things to each of us in the band, but for me in particular, dealing with a lot of mental health stuff that I just didn't really know how to process for a very long time. And finally, through years of talk therapy and through just kind of like dealing with my stuff and honestly having children, I've kind of come out of that. But really, like, that radical empathy is for myself. Like, like I have to not have shame and love, because understanding that shame is its own form of addiction too, right? You can be addicted to that guilt and you can be addicted to that shame. And I realized that was a major addiction of mine as well,
Starstruck. Yeah, I think radical empathy for me is like just a great device against division. Obviously, we see now more than ever the tribalism just kind of brewing in our culture, and empathy towards people that may have different points of views from you is just so much more powerful to allow people to be incorrect, but also have empathy that they may have been, their experience may have not allowed them to have reached the place that you've reached. And I think for me, that's like really powerful in like up against like what we are seeing like kind of like brewing in all corners of the world. And I think the point of Victory Garden for us was that realizing that with the world stage being so big and almost like untouchable, that our focus was going to be more on our immediate impact. And obviously we have an amazing platform being in the Giant, and we were like, okay, so what we're going to double down on? Well, we love doing charitable efforts. Like with Reverb, we've like neutralized our carbon footprint when we're going on tour. We've decided that, we're going to show up in communities and, volunteer and just do the hard work and kind of go to grassroots and, I don't want to say like preach to our like, I preach our sermon, but essentially like we're telling our fans that like the biggest impact you can actually make is the one in your community. If it's to help someone with the groceries if they need help, or like if someone's having a bad day, like my personal anecdote is like someone on our street was having like a mental health crisis the other day. Police showed up, and it's so crazy to see so many people turn to being like, she's got this is her problem, and I realized that she just needs someone to care for her. So it's like figuring out a way of showing up for like people in your life that like need that without needing the gratification of like, I'm doing this to help someone, is like just lending a hand and being there. And maybe if we can teach that lesson, like, 10,000 people at our show and like 5,000 of them the next day go out just out of the way, just a little bit more to go help someone, like that is like our power to change stuff. And that's kind of what we're trying to focus on this record, is not trying to be like that's wrong, this is wrong, we believe this, we're so much better than you. It's more like we could be a little kinder to each other, and maybe just with that it'll actually have some like sway towards what we believe is the correct path forward. Yeah,
that's beautiful, and thank you for doing that here tonight.
yeah, we're trying. Yeah, we're just happy to be here.
Jake was just touching on community, and I feel like just a tiny bit of context about the album title, because it kind of ties in with all of this, is on one of these writing retreats, our last one actually in Joshua Tree, our drummer informed us that he was going to have a second child, and we were looking at the stars that night, sitting in the jacuzzi, and I was in the middle of the night, I just shared with the guys, I heard about this thing called Victory Gardens. I was like, oh, like during the war effort, World War I, World War II, in England and in the US, the government basically asked its people to grow food to support the war effort because agriculture was doing something else. And I think about 40% of the food in America during World War II was grown in community neighborhoods by like neighbors, pre-internet, pre all of that, right? People sharing recipes, how to grow tomatoes, whatever. And I thought that was a really beautiful example of community coming together. And I shared this with the guys, and I was like, for me, I think Nova, who was about 4 at the time, I was like, I became a dad, I became a girl dad, and became a softie. I find myself crying on airplanes
you
for
were
myself.
always a softie.
Well, I became more of a softie. And I shared with the guys, I was like, I feel like, I shared this with them, and I was like, I think
You took
for
off
me,
your imposter syndrome hat and put on the softie girl.
yeah. And I was like, for me, raising my daughter with my lovely wife, like that's my victory garden, and that's, tending the seasons, like the hot and the cold, the winter, the spring, the rebirth. It was also it was going into the Persian New Year, which is like the first day of spring, the rebirth. And I shared it. I just like off the cuff, just shared this with the guys, and then it was like a pause. And then Eric, who's not here, was like, "That's it. That's the album title." And like we had already written some songs in that theme, and then we wrote Evergreen pretty much that week, which was like the album opener. And that song talks about legacy and planting trees for when society grows great, when old men plant trees for shade they will not enjoy. It's kind of that idea. So I tie that all into because we have lived in Venice for a long time. It's like over 10 years for me, and it's a very like conscious decision. I remember my wife and I were the first time we like hung out at a party in Venice long time ago, and she was in grad school because she's actually a psychologist and a great mental health provider herself, but she was just like working on a dissertation, and everyone's like a photographer, artist, and she's like, what is this? Like, I don't think I can live here. And she's like, carrying her books. I was like, it's okay. Like, I think it's gonna be good. And ended up, I can never like take her out of Venice now. She's just like, die hard, we're gonna live here forever. But I think what attracts us so much to Venice is the community, and all of West LA really, like all of it is just like we've like found our people. There's a lot of familiar faces, people that I see like at the market and whatever this morning, and it's the people that make this community so great, and that's why we stay here.
So you guys have mentioned, yoga and talk therapy, and your beautiful wife Ghazal being a psychologist and community. And so I'm curious, I think this will be my last question because we're just about out of time, but what are some of just your favorite or most helpful tools for your guys' mental health that we can leave people with tonight?
I think for me, nature has always been kind of like where I've been able to kind of tune in a little bit more. This metropolis that we live in is very busy. So I grew up in the UK in the countryside, so it's very different. And I have realized living in LA that there's not enough equity just like with nature here. Like we live in a beautiful place, Malibu's there, Angeles National Forest is right there. But when this kind of ties back into the whole ethos of the record, is that we can bring more nature into places. And my wife actually, she's a landscape architect, and I actually felt like I arrived home when I found someone that I could like work on things in communities and make them stronger. And so like I think for me, nature is really important, but I realized in my early 20s that I would like go on grand adventures and go camp and be by myself. And as I've like ended into my 30s now, I'm realizing that privilege that I've had and the time that I've been able to go do that, I need to kind of work on bringing that towards communities and my communities. And again, it brings me back to like, you know, you can do simple thing like the person down the street was having an episode, you know, we're going to just leave some flowers for her and stuff and just like show up and bring that part of what brings me peace to other people. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, is like I've realized that nature is kind of like my beckoning, and I think I will always gravitate towards the ocean and the mountains. But like I think in the immediacy of having a kid and another child on the way is like actually creating like a place that is equitable for everyone in the city to kind of like have that access to. So I think it's like that saying that I think it's gone. It's like you find yourself in others, and I've really found that now. And I think I realized it, as I brought up earlier, like checking in with people, phone calls, like connecting, like that was me finding myself in others. And now I'm going to just try and do that and try and figure out how that applies in this rock star life too. But, you know, we literally like 3 days before we came home, we're in a garden in Columbus, Ohio, fertilizing. And I felt like, yeah, I loved it. It was so fun. And these guys might not be as avid gardeners as I was, but I think we've got like a budding future of some horticulture amongst the band. Yeah.
I think, you know, for me, I think the process of creating music is like, I think doing anything in life, you have to trust the process and understand that, you know, so many thoughts and emotions are ephemeral, they're fleeting, and that we are so many different things throughout the day. And I think the greatest concept of that is like when you are writing a song, you kind of get addicted to this sensation. It's also the most like torturous thing, but you know, you're working on an idea and you'll just bang your head against a wall and be like, what is going on? I hate everything. I hate this. Why am I here? I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And then you're like, wait a second. Sitting in here in this room is not going to help. I have to leave and have to, maybe go outside, take a walk, or just turn off my brain for a second. And then it kind of happens and it shows up without you even really noticing that there's been a head state change. Maybe the idea is there now, and it feels like it just came out of nowhere when before it was impossible. So I think
that letting go of attachment.
Exactly, and like letting go of that attachment too, because like when you're really trying, I think I say with a lot of people who have writer's block, it's like, you know, don't chase inspiration, let it find you, right? And that has a lot to do with like, you know, detaching and understanding that is a constant process that, you know, everyone has. And that process is the point of making music, right? And so like in this world of AI, it's like you can arrive at the objective on the other side of the rainbow, but it's like the whole process is the point of making music. So, you know, understanding that process is life, right? And that it's okay to sometimes feel, and I still deal with that all the time, right? Like there are days I'm just like, man, I hate this. I hate feeling feelings, you know? They're so heavy. And I used to feel like, for a very, very long time, I used to feel like, oh, I'm not a very emotional person. But it's like, no, wait, I actually just like drink a lot. Or like, you know, or I do something like that and I deal with it, and then I feel like I don't have those feelings. And now it's like, no, wait, having those feelings is important, and like dealing with them, even though they're so difficult and like pierce you, that, you know, those are the things that matter.
Yeah.
I think we're really fortunate to live so close to the ocean, and I'm not a big surfer myself. I know Jacob is, but just the connection of the ocean being right there. When I'm in a funk, you know, I think we were there at the beach yesterday, running around. The kids were playing, and I took my dog to run on the shore, and just like, I think, love like throwing frisbee with Sameer. Like the sunset on the shore frisbee session is always like my favorite time of summer. I think just being able to move your body, honestly, and work out across the street and hit the sauna, like those little things. Honestly, I have to give a plug to Open as well, because I've been using the app for breathwork and meditation. I'll do like a breathwork in the sauna, or I'll do meditation on the road. It's been really helpful to sleep. I used to sleep really well on the bus because it would like rock you to sleep, and then the older I get, I feel like it's just the sleep's getting worse and worse on the bus. So that's been really helpful. I will also say my last plug, I guess, it's kind of a cheat code having my wife be a really talented and empathetic psychologist. She actually, I'm a part of it as well, but my wife and her colleague started a mental health practice called Root and Grow Health just almost not even a year ago. And it's, I think it was always like an issue finding quality care, and all of the providers are, doctorate level clinicians, and they accept all major insurance. Like, that's a huge thing to find good care. And if you don't have insurance, they have like a sliding scale. So all of that is really great. And, if you call them, you can get like a consultation with a real person, which nowadays is hard if everything's like a chatbot, right? So that's been really great. Sorry, shout out to my wife. I'm shameless. She's totally embarrassed right now. But actually, I think we left little.
We put business cards in everyone's gift bag.
So if you yourself or someone
Gazelle.
looking for, for a provider, that's a great option. But yeah, I just think there's so many tools at our disposal. I think we live in a time now where we have so many resources, whether it be taking a walk, whether it be an instrument, or cooking. Honestly, it can be so meditative. It's such a great thing to be able to like provide for people, whether it's my family or my friends. It's just, or with music on stage. It's just we have a lot. We just need to tap into those things and recognize that they're around, and we have all these resources. So yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you guys so much for the show, for the conversation. Sameer, Payam, Jacob. This is seriously such a dream come true. Thank you all for being here. And hopefully, this is only the beginning. My goal is to turn this into a tour, to hopefully have more of these conversations and have the opportunity to reach people who might not otherwise seek mental health support, to be able to meet them where they are. And if they connect with a band, if they connect with artists, and they somehow come across, one of these shows, and then something about the conversation moves them and changes the way that they relate to themselves or their minds or the world, and ultimately, keeps them here, is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So thank you guys all for being a part of that mission and that movement. We have Magic Mind out there. We have t-shirts. There is an opportunity to donate. This is a nonprofit, so if you feel called, thank you so much. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Also, I need to pay. Who's doing it? Me or you? What's exciting? He said that. Dude, don't do that.